We're gonna get going again. Before we get into business, I just wanted to take this opportunity to mention something. You know, we're very fortunate to live in this country, and the reason we are able to have things like school board meetings is we live in this democracy. And it's not by accident. And tomorrow's Veterans Day. I know we have at least one veteran, maybe two. Are you a veteran, Roland?
I am not.
Okay. Any other veterans here?
Woo!
Nice.
Represent females.
So I would just like to take this opportunity to thank you for your service because it makes a big difference. Thank you. So with that, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. With that, I'm going to open public comment at 6:01. Do we have any public comment right now? We will be leaving it open till the end of the meeting. We want to wait for a certain item to come up. All right, with that, we're going to roll into Caleb's report.
All right. So as we were talking about just a little bit earlier, the volleyball team won their third straight championship on Saturday. Congratulations to all the incredible players on that team and the coaches. They had an excellent game and an excellent season overall. The football team won their game on Saturday against Campbell. They'll face Laconia this Friday at 6 o'clock. So if you're interested in watching that game.
Where is that game, Caleb?
Laconia.
It'll come.
Under the lights of Laconia.
Thank you, Coach.
All the 8th grade students went to Boston today for their annual field trip. They walked the Freedom Trail, took a guided tour of the Prudential Building, went on the duck boats, and got the Faneuil Hall experience, and some other stuff as well. And the students are coming back around 7 o'clock tonight. The Lakerbots wrapped up their competition season with Battle of Bay and Girls Behind the Glass on November 1st and 2nd. The season went well overall, and we're beginning to prepare for the upcoming 2026 season. I also have a proposal for the school board to consider about the annual voting meeting in March. The class of 2027, which is my class, is wondering if it might be possible for us to host a spaghetti dinner in a similar way to how we hosted the spaghetti dinner for one of the other nights. So that's something for the board to consider. Figured we'd put it out there now and let you guys think about that. I know it's a good time away, but if we could possibly do that, and so we could get that planned out, and it might be a good way to get more people to come or just get more community involvement.
Need a steak dinner, Caleb.
Kim, do you see this as a fundraiser for the class fund?
Yeah,
as well?
it would also be fun.
Excellent. Thank you, Caleb. Next up, we have the minutes from October 14th, 2025.
They begin on page 19.
I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Yeah, motion to approve the minutes as is.
A second.
Thank you. Move in a second. Any questions or comments on the minutes?
So page 29, school board review resolution number 18. Mr. Locke moved, Mrs. Starmer seconded to abstain. Motion carried. There was significant discussion about abstaining from that particular motion, none of which is captured in the minutes.
So what do you suggest?
My suggestion is that we go back to the recording and we pull some of those comments and reasons why and place those in the minutes.
Okay. So how do we want to do that? We want to bring another version back at the next meeting?
Yeah, yeah.
After going
And leave
through?
them as drafts and bring them back. I'll have Sarah review the recording.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Yes, good for me.
Okay. Next up, general operating expenses.
Thank you. On page 33, starts the manifest 3008, and I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Actually, for line number 115099, advertising in the Laconia Sun, what was the advertising? Is that to get is that the parent square, to get folks involved with the parent
Yep.
square? Okay. And then immediately after that, line 115100, Laconia ice hockey fees?
Yes. We are part of a cooperative with Laconia and Winnisquam Regional High School. And so that is our fee that we pay to participate in that sport.
Very good.
That includes ice time.
Any other questions? Hearing none, we are on to the enrollment report.
Did I vote?
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, we have to vote on the manifest.
Didn't sound-
Sorry about that.
Motion made.
Motion made by Mr. Correll, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Duncan. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank
Opposed?
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Those missed that one. Enrollment report.
You have in your packet the enrollment report, not much of a change of our overall enrollment from last month. I did also just include an additional enrollment breakdown by grade level and classroom at the elementary level.
Questions or comments for the superintendent? Hearing none. Staffing update.
Staffing update, we are still looking for 3 paraeducators at Interlakes Elementary School. We are continuing to fill the speech language pathologist through contracted service. But we do hope that maybe next year we'll be fortunate enough to hire. And we also continue to have custodial openings, but we are in a fairly good position staffing-wise.
Any other questions for the superintendent regarding staffing? Nope. Hearing none. End of year financial report. Ms. Dahl.
Thank you. On page 43 of your packet is a memo that I prepared for you, just outlining what the end of year financial report is. And again, it is just a summary of the DOE 25, that financial report that we have to prepare for the state. And so we signed those documents back in October. And just to kind of highlight some important things from last fiscal year, in June, we were projecting about $200,000 as our fund, in our unreserved fund balance, after the board had set to encumber the 1.2 million. We were able to, throughout that kind of end of June period of time, recognize about an additional $200,000 in purchase orders that we could close. So that gave us about $400,000, and then in revenue, we did recognize about $200,000 more than what we were anticipating. So that is the makeup of about the $600,000 end of year fund balance that we ended up with. I'm happy to answer any questions if anybody has any.
Questions? for
Otherwise,
Ms.
we are in a
Dahl?
good financial position. We ended the year in a good financial position.
It's better to underestimate your revenues than overestimate them.
Nice little friendships.
Okay. Year-to-date financial report. Keep rolling. Ms.
All right.
Dahl.
Thank you. On page 57 of your packet is our year-to-date financial report. Currently, we are about 96% either expended and plus encumbrances, and available, we have about $1.4 million available. This number does fluctuate, and again, I always remind everyone that this is a snapshot in time. We are still working through some encumbrances that haven't hit the bottom line yet, so just know that as we move throughout the year, that number does change.
Great. Any other questions for Ms. Dahl? Hearing none. We're on to strategic planning update.
Yes, so you have in your packet Very slight edit came out of Friday's meeting with Select Board. Page 58, changing endeavors to strives for, just so that we're grammatically correct. And I have scheduled a meeting for December 4th, asking the committee to meet again. My hope is to have synthesized a number of ideas from last spring, work this summer, and some work with the committee into something for the committee to review a document. So that's where we're at.
Great. Any other questions or comments on strategic planning? Legislative outreach meeting. I would like to start by thanking you all for attending, even though we didn't get turnout. I think having a member from every select board, and Mary was able to spend quite a bit of time afterwards with Ms. Layton as well, which was time well spent, to give them, learn about when the taxpayers come up and ask about their tax rate, maybe now they have a little bit of context with which to answer the question. So thank you for your time. That's all I wanted to say about that. We're still not going to give up on trying to get legislators, but got to figure out a better way to
It's hard.
corral them. Because we compete. They have the broader thing, like the School Board Association, is having a legislative breakfast.
So the
Or superintendents.
Lakes Region School Administrators Association is having a legislative breakfast this Wednesday. From our area, Senator Lang, I think, is the only person. There's others from other counties, but so that will be an opportunity to at least kind of share some of the information we shared on Friday.
That was a great presentation, and I also appreciated your reaching out afterwards to thank them.
Yeah.
Of course.
And there were some responses back that I will get out to folks.
Okay. Well, and the other thing I thought, particularly since Ed, Nancy, and I all know some specific legislators, I'm gonna take that information and put it right in the handbook and talk to them about it. And I think we all could if you had time. You are so inclined, so.
And I can send all of that to people as electronically as well.
Yes, please.
Okay, were we gonna post that too somewhere? That was something that came up, or was that?
I can do, we can find a spot to post it, yeah.
Just the question I had coming out of that is, I can't remember, it's the gentleman sitting where Caleb is sitting now.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Talked about
Beans?
linking the this ILSD website to
Yes,
his
I
town
think we
website.
might be, I will confirm that. I'm pretty sure we are in Meredith. I will confirm that. I thought we did that a while back, but I will confirm.
All right, next up, report on the New Hampshire School Board Association Delegate Assembly. Mr. Guerin.
Yeah, let me give you what I did last summer report. So I attended the New Hampshire School Board Association 2025 Delegate Assembly in Concord on October 25th. And I wanted to just give the board a rundown or a summary of what happened. I know we spent time during our last public meeting, talking through our positions as the association looks to advocate for school boards across the state. So I wanted to let all of you know that we sort of started the session with a presentation on communication skills, both communicating amongst ourselves as a board, which I thought was helpful, and happy to come back to that topic at another time, and also effective strategies for communicating with the public, which I thought was helpful. Moving to the business session, we first voted on the continuing resolutions, which, as a reminder, are resolutions that have passed for the past 3 consecutive years, indicating that those are sort of continuing issues that the association is going to want to have a position on. So those passed. We as a board voted to sort of pass those, and the vote in the room passed. And then we moved on to newly submitted resolutions. There were 12 newly proposed resolutions. 2 of them passed. Both that we had sort of
approved as a board, but there were slight changes in language. And so I know all board members received today, actually, the minutes from the delegate assembly. So you can read in the minutes the discussion that occurred around each proposed resolution. I will say the two that passed, one reads, New Hampshire School Boards Association opposes state mandated open enrollment. And just to summarize the discussion in the room, centered around maintaining local control. Districts feeling that open enrollment can undermine the district's ability to plan for and manage community resources. So that's what a lot of the discussion was. It was noted that there are a few schools in New Hampshire that do allow for open enrollment, and the association wanted to be clear that they would not discourage a district that decides that open enrollment works for them. They'd obviously have to do that in partnership with another school, because open enrollment doesn't work if there's only one. And so the association wanted to be clear that they don't want to take away the ability of a district to be able to institute that if it works in their favor. But they do oppose a statewide mandate.
So there was, just to
Yeah.
interject, there was a court ruling, I think, that came after the delegate assembly. So one district had declared themselves open enrollment, and then sent another district who's not an open enrollment district the bill for 80% of their tuition, as well as special education costs. The judge has come, the decision or ruling was that this district would still be on the hook for it, even though this district was saying, I've been entered into an agreement that I never signed on for. So that, I think, that was a pretty big court ruling that was surprising, but that district is responsible for those costs, even though it wasn't something that they had originated.
You mean the non-open enrollment?
Correct. So
Okay.
that was a big
Yeah.
ruling.
Thank you, Mary. The second one that passed, I will read it. The School Boards Association supports legislation that would allow for a simple majority to approve bonds intended for the maintenance, repair, or improvement of existing school district facilities, especially when the major portion of the borrowed funds are essential to bring such facilities up to fire and other safety requirements or improvements necessary to meet the requirements of the minimum standard for school facilities. The discussion on that one, so we as a board had discussed it, and we had approved the sort of alternative wording that the association had submitted. There was some back and forth, and what the majority decided was that they would amend the alternative resolution to include simple majority. And so the discussion was around, as construction costs rise and school buildings age, the current requiring of a supermajority 60% to pass bond spending disproportionately hinders a community's ability to maintain the infrastructure already in place. And apparently there's a loophole, I haven't verified this, but a loophole in New Hampshire law that allows for straight majority to approve leases. And so what can happen is school districts in a pinch, in an emergency, can't get the 60% supermajority to vote on a bond, but they only need by law 50% plus one vote to approve leases. And so districts are potentially taking on less advantageous commitments where, it's sort of the only thing they're left to do is approve. So
if I understand, like, just using ILSD as an example.
Yeah.
If we wanted to there was a motion to take out a bond to repair a building, bring it up to code, which
Yeah.
is basically what I think I heard you say.
yes,
But we cannot reach the 60% approval at the annual meeting.
Right.
The board or a simple majority of voters could say, we're going to essentially move the school out of a code non-compliant building into a code compliant building. And a simple majority can just, that's a really
yes. So
big move. Like, that doesn't sound like, it sounds like an astounding move, but that's what I think.
Well, I wonder if it would be like a leased asset. So like
Yeah.
say your
The
SAU
solar
building
panels.
is in a building,
Yeah.
right, the town owns, and you want to get it upgraded. you can't get a majority, you could say, well, there's a condo complex down the road, and so we're just gonna lease that, and we're gonna move out of this building. I mean, you probably wouldn't do it for a school.
Yeah,
In a smaller, like an office or something like that side.
Or a lease arrangement like the solar Honeywell lease.
Yeah,
Right,
exactly,
right.
yeah, oh, I can lease this boiler.
Exactly.
Right,
Lease a
right.
boiler.
Yeah, I think
I
it's,
think
I don't think
Honeywell's
it's
a
moving
great
schools.
Example.
I think it's not owning assets.
Yeah.
And this is just a position advocated by the school board
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
association. This has no, this isn't a binding.
Yes.
No, exactly.
It's not a law.
That's an important clarification, is this is just the position we want the association to take in advocating to the legislature on behalf of the school boards, right?
Yeah.
So, I think the other thing, so those are the two resolutions that passed. I think the other thing I wanted to mention to everyone is I spoke with a board member from Dover, who, apropos our conversation about legislative outreach. She's leading something called the School Board Advocacy Network. And they have a growing list of members, I think 51 members at this point, 30-something school districts across the state, who will gather regularly and strategically set up and strategically to set legislative priorities and advocate for elected and appointed leaders in Concord. So it's a fully and intentionally nonpartisan group that sort of pools, sort of shares best practices among school boards to sort of advocate on behalf of school boards and get meetings with legislators and sort of as a group. And so they meet regularly. I, as an individual member, am planning to join, and I'll log in and listen to their, engage in their conversations. I do have information that I can share with other board members because it is open to all elected board members in the state of New Hampshire.
Is that an individual thing or is that a,
It's an individual, yeah, it's an individual thing.
so unlike NHSBA, the board doesn't,
No.
the individual members?
That's right, that's right. And then just in closing, a few final thoughts. I wanted to thank the board for having the discussion about the resolutions that were proposed this year's assembly. As a new board member going there, it felt really good to have been sort of aligned with everyone else on the board before going. And clearly most board members at the assembly had connected with their board, so it was something that people were speaking on behalf of their boards. It was nice to be armed in that way. Schools from around the state are wrestling with the same things we're wrestling with. So, validating, I guess, commiserating, I don't know. And then finally, just to let everyone know, I was really proud to say that I was representing the Interlake School District, where it was from, the communities that I represent. That was sort of a source of pride for me in the room, talking to people from across the state. So I guess to the extent that I can thank you for being a great board and a great community, that was really helpful for me to be in that place. So that's it. Any questions?
You're welcome.
No, thank you. Thank you for doing that, Ed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ed, for pushing us along so that we took it up, because we never had to date. So that's great. We have a process going forward. All right, anything else on the delegate assembly? Hearing none, we're gonna move on to the tuition rate.
Thank you. On page 60 is the tuition rate memo. Again, going back to the DOE 25, this rate is established based on the end of year financial reporting, and it sets the rate for the following year. So what you have in front of you is the rates that were established through that financial reporting. And I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Actually, what is an ADM?
Oh, sorry, average daily membership.
I know that's in here somewhere. So if you,
It's just like the number of kids in school, right?
Yes.
yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah, it's based on like if they do this attendance thing, it's the formula.
We need a motion to approve this.
Motion to approve the 20,
Have a second?
I'm sorry, motion to approve, to present the tuition as presented, as was presented.
Thank you,
And I'll second.
thank you. for clarifying.
Sorry.
Any other questions or comments?
do these rates represent an increase or decrease or
This is a slight increase over last year.
at the per diem rate? Like how? how
Per
much
diem
more?
rate, I would say within $10.
I'm sure that's in here. And I'm just,
I actually do not have last year's rates. I can get them for you though, the actual rates. It was about $10.
And then multiplied across however many students.
Yes.
That might also be good information to provide to our local legislators. The discussion about, hey, what's going on with
Sure.
increases in taxes and so on and so forth.
Yep.
So, a recommendation.
Anything else on tuition rate? Hearing none, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
May I just make a comment?
Yes.
So if you look at that, so tuition rate, let's just use the high school of $31,581. So the open enrollment district, which there is one in the Lakes region, has a student who is an Interlake student go there, they would then send us a bill for 80% of that $31,581. Not something you could have planned, like, you don't know that this is happening, but you get the bill. So as we look at, budgets which are complex, having this volatility of an unexpected bill, it's just adding, I think, some of the challenges that we're facing with education funding.
Yeah, does this go back to what we were kind of talking about on Friday too, with that new max set for like remember we were talking about the 80% reimbursement with the legislative group
Oh,
on Friday?
and
Is
that is the special
Special
education.
Okay.
Yeah, this is separate of that. This is another district that has declared themselves open enrollment. And I believe that I believe that was probably voted at and either, I don't know if they're SB2 or annual meeting. I think it has to be voted by the legislative body, I think.
Mhm.
They get a student who is an Interlake student and they say, hey, you're here. Now we're just sending Interlakes this bill for 80% of $31,581. So what?
If they're an Interlake special ed student, they would
And
send
then
us.
they're sending us another bill.
$75,000 number that we talked about.
They're
right?
gonna send us another bill for special education costs. If we exceed the $75,000, then we could apply to the state for it.
Okay.
But-
And then we'd be on hook to also do like the 80% of that bill too, is what we were talking about.
Yes,
right?
yeah, so,
And we have no discretion on this, following this formula.
well, the board can truly, you can make, I can see where you're going with that. The challenge is, when you start not using this formula and then we have
Mhm.
other people that maybe want to come here and pay tuition,
Mhm.
it's a challenge. But I could see the
Utility.
strategy of saying, well, let's set our tuition rate at $1,000, right? Because 80% of that is a lot easier to deal with. We are required by legislation to now have a line item in our budget for open enrollment tuition. So that will be new this year.
But to be clear, although we would not necessarily be able to anticipate that bill from and I assume that you mean that this is a hypothetical case that you've laid out for us.
I have, this is not happened to us yet. It has happened to another district in the Lakes region.
So this hypothetical
Yeah.
Interlake student that goes to this other district.
Yeah.
And this other district sends us this bill. for
Yeah.
this Nevertheless, Interlake School District has received from the Interlakes towns that make up the district, the property taxes, so et cetera, to fund that student's participation here in Interlakes. Is that not correct?
Correct, however, the student leaving, the costs are not leaving, right? Because you start losing, like, we still are gonna need the math teacher, we're still gonna need to keep the building, we're still going to need, to do other things, so it's, if you could count on, half of your population leaving that way, right? Then you're probably going to start decreasing what you have in district. It's very difficult, I think, to predict what this is going to do. So I think you're paying what you have, and now you're paying more for someone to go somewhere else.
At what point is there kind of an anticipation of in the budget, imagining like 5 students, just to
Yeah.
have that there?
I think that this is all new ground. I think that will be part of our conversation coming up. But I just wanted to add a little context to that. Like, I just think looking at that number and realizing 80% of that, not having that planned for.
Mhm.
We're fortunate that we do have some means, but some other districts with less means that can be pretty shattering.
Not having voted to be an open enrollment district, we can nonetheless accept tuition paying
Yes.
students. So
Correct.
in theory,
But the difference there is that would be at the parent's responsibility, not the home district. Where the home district would be responsible and have had no choice is special education costs.
I see, okay, of course, that makes sense. So now, but could that parent,
They could not know because
Unless
we're not an
right,
open
I see.
enrollment
Okay.
district. If we'd have to be declared an open enrollment district first.
Other questions?
As we look and going back, Mary, to your discussion about, hey, December's coming up and that's when
Yeah.
you ladies do all your hard math crunching on
Yeah.
budget stuff. Is it prudent to develop a course of action for the board to consider or whatever? What is the, I won't say the worst case scenario, but a conservative figure to base the line item number off of, kind of like, is it prudent to make an assumption that we should budget for 5
I think
folks to go somewhere else?
as Siobhan was just saying, I think that
Did
may
I
make
not
sense.
understand that correctly? Okay.
That may make sense to
I
put
guess I just
some
didn't
number
understand
there.
those things. Okay.
I think, that is, again, they're unplanned costs, right? And trying to make that up in a budget that you didn't plan for it is challenging. So I think it makes sense to start realizing the ground might be shifting.
We have a question or a comment.
Just a comment, coming from a strategic perspective, like when a child chooses to leave the district and go to an open enrollment district, are we doing anything to figure out or determine what Interlakes is missing, why they're not being retained?
We do exit surveys with families to try to find out, what's prompting the change. We certainly, I think a strategy is to be a place that people want to be. I would agree with that wholeheartedly.
Could you just say your name and where you're from
Oh,
for the
thank
Oh,
record?
yeah, Tabitha Carey, I'm from Meredith.
but just to be clear, we have not had anyone leave our district for an open enrollment. But clearly people do leave and there's a process to understand whether there's something that the district can do better.
Quick question.
Yes, Mr. Mega.
In your hypothetical example, if we were an open enrollment district along with this other one, does that mean there's no cost sharing because we're in the pool of open? enrollment?
So if we became an open enrollment district, again, anybody in the state could then come and we would be sending a bill to their home district.
Including another open enrollment, maybe it doesn't
Correct, it
matter.
could be an open enrollment district, it could be a non-open
Oh, I
enrollment
guess
district.
that's really my question, yeah.
There is, what I would say is legislation, and I think, I don't know, it didn't get finalized last year. I'm not sure if it will be back up this year of trying to make the whole state open enrollment through the legislator.
And then in the hypothetical, the differences of the prices would play into that, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if one town is
Yeah.
$33,000 and one is 22,
Yeah.
you're getting 80% of that
Yeah.
on both sides, so it's
Yeah.
not like apples for apples.
Great. So we are up to donations. Light It Up Lakers campaign. So tonight we have donations from Alice Valby, God bless her, in the amount of $300. the Jones Family Trust in the amount of $466.55. GoFundMe in the amount of $533.45. And thanks to Mr. Terrio, we have a Knights of Columbus donation in the amount of $200. I accept a motion to accept these with gratitude.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Thank you.
Hearing none. All those, pardon? Yes.
Jennifer Curran, Meredith, what are the donations for? Are they earmarked? Or if I do recall, several meetings ago, there was, some concern about student lunches and students not being able to afford meals.
Correct.
Has that been
That-
resolved, or is this part of that discussion?
No, this is specifically for lights on the athletic
Okay.
field at the high school.
Their fundraising efforts.
Got it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you very much. Then we have our general donations. An anonymous parent donated in the amount of $1,000 for unpaid school lunch balances.
Awesome.
I'm very grateful to that parent. Just want to say as a school board.
It's not necessarily a parent, just a person.
Well, it says anonymous
Says
parent.
parent.
Oh, it is parent, yeah.
So what, their parent, the people too, parents are people too, but. I know that this is an action item, but it also brought to mind, especially since I saw in the, the Canva thing, newsletter. That there was a drive with McDonald's. And I remember after one of those meetings, where we were discussing the unpaid balance, I had asked if we're doing any outside the box and perhaps doing something similar with Bradford's, if the community could contribute in that way, because there's so many of those who want to round up or whatever. Has anything like that come through, or is it
No, I
possible?
do know that the Interlace Elementary School has been doing a food drive.
Mhm.
And that's for local food pantries, but nothing for, I think we were trying to get the donation button on the website.
We were trying.
Okay.
It's not as easy, unfortunately, so people can donate, but they would just need to do it through us. That's
Is
easiest
it
to
not
find.
possible to do it specifically with something like Hannaford's?
We can, I think we haven't asked yet.
Okay.
So I think we can try to, maybe we can put our outreach counselor on that. See if there's something that could be done.
I think that would be nice, year-round perhaps,
Yeah.
as an option, or I know right now it's hard because with the government being shut down, and I certainly recognize there have been triumphant efforts between many community members to help SNAP beneficiaries have food right now, and this is an additional thing at this moment in time, but if we know that this is a recurring issue, why not have that? I mean, when I called Hannaford's, for instance, for Lakes Region to ask about requesting and purchasing gift cards, the manager's words to me were, "You're part of our community, of course we'll make sure we can do this." And I loved his response in particular, and I just feel like that's a shoo-in to me, but I don't know anything about it.
So we'll work on that. We'll see if we can get Hannaford to do the roundup.
Yeah, it just seems reasonable.
Can I ask, how would donations for something like school lunch balance, how would people make those donations?
They would make them here and
They
then they're
reach
in
out,
a-
they reach out
Mhm.
to the
Yes.
office here.
And we have had
Yeah.
that happen before. It's a restricted account, so it's only used to pay for unpaid lunch balances.
And how long can we carry sort of an unpaid balance?
An unpaid balance?
Yeah,
For a reasonable amount of
okay,
time.
got it.
We have a reasonable amount of time to try to collect it.
Yeah.
And then unfortunately, we would have to look to other ways to handle it.
So I have a motion from Siobhan, I thought a second from Jim. First,
I don't know. If it was
I did
to
not second it.
accept,
oh, you did not.
I'll say.
But I will.
Ed will second it, okay. Any other discussion on the donation of $1,000 from the anonymous parent? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Quick, quick, quick.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, we're at other business. Do any board members have any other business?
No.
All right, so public comment. I see public not typically here. I ask you all, does anybody want to say anything?
Well, I'll start it representing. Before I do, I need to share with you the fact that I have 5 grandchildren at Air Lakes. 2 of them graduated last year. Their performance as they begin college has been outstanding. One of them is at the University of Oregon, and just as he took the placement up all over the place, and he was big in the robotics. I mean, but he was a student, and I'm just so proud of that. The most recent one is at UNH. He was a very tremendous student. He's in the business section, and I got 2 more coming up. And I just watch the way that our school helps them get to college. I watch the advisors and listen to the things that they do. And I just feel very proud to be a part of it. So I want to start by saying that. The second thing I want to say is I want to thank all of you for putting up with the grandparents. We are a pain in the rear end, particularly to Mary. But we're plugging along. Now it's about selling banners around the school and working hard to be sure that we're on schedule with become the group that we're all agreeing to go with. And we just want to be sure that if we look at next year's homecoming in 26, we want to be sure we stay on that schedule, particularly with Musco, because they're a big company. They're operating with a whole lot of different operations. And I think it's important that we move forward, maybe even getting a presentation from them. I mean, something that we get interaction. And again, the 5 of us are just saying, what else can we do? We're keeping up with the money, there's no doubt. Looking forward to March 4th. But just want to thank you guys for sticking with us, because there's been some ups and downs, obviously. And we're excited about the pathway that we're moving forward. So just want to make those 2 comments. Beaver, anything to add?
Well, I wouldn't thought to say this, except Paul triggered it. I just happen to have a grandson that transferred to New Hampton to do his senior year of high school, and he couldn't have got off to a better start because of the great education he had for 3 years here at Interlakes. And I wouldn't even have thought of it until Paul talked about his grandchildren. And the other thing is, from our last meeting as a full committee, we were going to appeal to Mary for the next few months, if we could be kept abreast of any changes, any tweaks in the installation of the 4 poles, any cost fluctuations that might occur, because we happened by circumstance to meet with a Musco representative, and we told him that we wanted the state-of-the-art kind of lighting. And then we went from 70-foot poles to 80-foot poles, and he also set it up so it would be lit differently if there was a night track meet versus a football game on a Friday night. So there are a lot of little things that we assume will be part of the project. But should there be some changes and, cost changes, if we could be updated.
Of course.
Well, I think we've had 1 year, we're now in year 2, and we're getting more and more anxious and want to help any way we can. That's the bottom line of what we're saying. That's what we're here to say.
And we're not through fundraising,
No.
we're trying to raise more funds. Hopefully enough funds not to even have a warrant article at town meeting, but we'll see.
I would say, just in my humble opinion, 2 things. One, with regards, we got to get a final cost, and I know Brian's working on that. with all these things, and I don't think it's certainly any issue to keep you informed of where it's at. Second thing, the most important thing you can do is keep fundraising, because the smaller that delta gets, the more likely it is to get the warrant article over the goal line. And to your point, Beaver, if you could get it so it's $1, boy, I think it'll probably pass. That's the way those things go.
Sure.
For sure.
I did have a question on actually on the banners. Today, if you bought a banner, is it currently up? Like, are the banners up and
The
down?
banners are up, so we will be taking them down for winter.
Yep.
I think we had talked about because, things were kind of just getting off the ground, that the banners that we have, we'll put back up, and then hopefully we'll have new people wanting to sponsor. So it's $1,000 for the back closer ILES and $2,000 for the front.
Yep, okay.
We just felt that because we didn't get the lights in the first year, they should go up the same way year 2 with the other additions that we can get. So hopefully we're gonna have it all ringed by May, hopefully.
And we are working on, Mr. Quinn's helped us to design a kind of a updated brochure, which we've got to still tweak a little. He's made a little video. So we're hoping to do another push out for sponsorships for the banners.
Okay.
And thank you all for your efforts to date. It doesn't go unnoticed. So, other folks, any last minute comments or anything? Okay.
I'll say one more thing, sorry. One thing, I know we've got a big football game on Friday night, right?
Yes.
There's also, I believe, the Elf Junior is being performed at the high school on Friday and Saturday. So you could do
yes.
football on Friday night and then theater on
There
Saturday
you go.
and be a Renaissance individual.
And ready for Christmas.
And ready for Christmas.
Lots of little elves running around.
All
I
right.
don't know if this-
Anything online, Mr. Parsons?
There is not. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for watching us from afar. I always feel better with you over my shoulder. All right, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Cordell. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim and Jade. Got the Jade second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Probably
Thank
lucky
you
you
all
missed
for
that
coming
one.
tonight. You know, you gotta-